Hi there, this is Sheena Rowlands and today I'm sharing with you my latest layout for Bramble Fox. And for this layout I'm going to be using the Joyful Perspective from the Shine Bright set. Also going to be using bows and candy canes, holly and berries, Christmas elements and some shining stars as well. So this is the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Deck the Halls collection, and I'm just cutting this paper into the individual squares. Um, I'm going to make like a square wreath, I think is the idea that I had at the beginning. I'm not sure which of the squares I want to use at this stage, so I decide I'm going to cut it into all of the squares and then I can choose which ones that I want to use, because using ephemera and embellishments is my favourite part, so I want to actually embellish each of the squares. So depending on what's already on them, whether I enhance the picture that's there or whether I'm going to change it completely. So that one on the top left, there was already a house and a tree on it, and I'm actually going to add to it another house and a tree. Same with the one I'm just dealing with there. It's got houses on. I'm going to add houses to that. Some of these are chipboard pieces. Some of these I've die cut from another. I've fussy cut from another paper. Some of them are die cuts. I've already used this collection before for some other layouts, so I haven't got everything, but there's plenty here, along with the perspectives that I can use. There's a couple of wreaths in there, and I'm definitely going to use some of the bows and candy canes to decorate those. The paper with the squares on is called Kris Kringle from the Deck the Halls Cocoa Vanilla range, and the paper I've got on the background at the moment is called Ornamental. It's a dark green check on the front, but it's got lots of ornaments and leaves on the reverse. I think that's where it got its name from. So I'm just having a look at all of the squares, all of the pieces that I've got there that I want to use. I haven't actually at this stage even sorted a photograph, but I've got an idea of something that I want. So because I've now chosen which ones I want of the squares, I'm now just trimming them down properly so that you can still see the frame around them. And I decide that actually maybe I'd like to add another layer behind them. So I bring in a couple of pale green papers from the 6x8 paper pad, and I'm going to just trim those to go behind the squares. There's enough paper in the two 6x8s to be able to provide a square to go behind all of the ones that I've chosen, so I can keep all the papers the same there. Sometimes I prefer to cut into 6x8 or 6x6 rather than a 12x12 for something like this. So I did a little bit of mental maths beforehand to make sure I've got enough paper. Come in with my distresser, and I'm just going to run around the edges of all of the backing squares and all the squares that I've taken from the Kris Kringle paper as well. And it takes a little bit of time, but I do like the edge that it gives, and because I've cut some of them by hand, it just hides any imperfections as well. And I finish the distressing off camera. I decide I want to add another layer in, and this is just some white basil cardstock, and I've already trimmed it to, I think it's 10 3/4 inches square. So I want plenty of the green to show at the background, but I want a little bit of a white outline around the pale green squares. I also want to cut the center out of it, so I've just put some dots on it with pencil, and I've come in with a different sort of paper trimmer so I can cut out the center square. I don't use this trimmer very much. I tend to use it just for when I'm at crops and retreats, because it's being so thin, it's easy to pack, and I've got a guillotine normally, which is much chunkier. But for something like this, to cut out the center, could do it easily with a scalpel and a ruler, but I just thought it was just a quick way of doing it. I've just got to come in at the corners and to take that out. So before I go any further with this, I'm going to run the distresser around the outside and the inside of this white cardstock, and then I can start to think about layering up some of the squares on top of it. Now to start to get everything into position. So I'm going to start to stick the green squares down first so that I can get the spacing where I want to. Luckily with the double-sided tape I get a chance to reposition some of them. So I've got all the pale green stuck down, and it's now to come in with the squares from the Kris Kringle paper. So I've got an idea where I want to put them, so I'm going to start to get them in from the beginning. I'm not adding any foam pads or anything at this stage because there'll be enough chunk when I start adding the embellishments. I quite like a chunky layout. At the depth it's something that I do like, so I'm not too worried about that sort of thing, but I'm not going to add unnecessary depth at this stage. So everything I'm just sticking down with some tape. Now come the foam pads and the glue dots. I do find that glue dots are perfect for sticking down small perspectives, particularly like the trees and the bows. So I'm going to work my way around. I'm trying to be a little systematic. I do go off at piste a little bit sometimes. There's a couple of squares when I didn't actually like the image or didn't feel that I could cover the image with something that I wanted to use. So I've actually cut a few small squares that fit the frames from one of the other papers from the 6x8, which has got like little stars. It's white with little stars. So it's not in your face and it's just happy in the background. So there's one gone behind the red bauble. And I think there'll be some more in the bottom under the wreaths. So the ones that I know exactly what I want, I'm going to get in there with a bit of foam and get the houses and the trees stuck down. This is my favourite part of doing a layout, I have to admit. And even though you can't hear it because I'm talking to you, I'll have an audio book or some music playing in the background so that I can totally just think about the layout and enjoy the creative process. So you see there that I've added 2 candy canes there from the Bones and Candy Canes set, and then I've added a banner over the top that says "'Tis the Season." And so then I feel that that square is completely done, and I will look at some of the others. I've fussy cut some flowers as well from one of the 6x8 papers to add to another couple of the squares. So I'm just going to work my way around. I recommend that you check out the new perspectives in the Bramble Fox store at bramblefox.co.uk. There's lots of autumnal and Halloween and Christmassy, wintry new perspectives for you to see. You'll definitely find something that you really like and really need. So do check those out in store. Also, if you watch our videos regularly, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything, and give us a thumbs up. We're happy to answer any questions that you've got as well. So these are the stars that I'm adding now, are like puffy little stars. They are still from the Cocoa Vanilla Studio collection. And I'm just adding them to the tops of the trees, and I'm going to add them to the presents. Also going to potentially add some little dots to the centres of the flowers. So it's taken me a long time to get my act together and get myself a photograph. I've printed it square. It's 4x4 square. It's got no border. So I've added a white border with the cardstock that I cut from the centre. And I decided to add a green layer too. So I'm just cutting that, and then I will distress the edges so that it all coordinates with the work that I've done around the outside. I'm going to add a little banner above the photo, and then I will add the joyful at the bottom of the photo as well. So time to stick this down to the base layer and just get that into position. And I'm just distressing the layers behind the photograph so I can get that into place. I'm not going to add too much more now because I think there's plenty going on around the outside. So I've got that in the center. Off camera, I do add the joyful to one of the paler papers and fussy cut it just so it stands out a little bit more. And I come back in and add the centers to some of the flowers. I always like to have a last tweak, make sure I've not missed anything. So there's the layout completed. Thank you so much for watching. Here's the full image, and there'll be some close-ups too. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and do check out these great new perspectives in store. Thanks for watching. This was Sheena Rowlands for Bramble Fox. Bye for now.